Hi, everybody. Happy week 9. This week's readings made me think about something that seems simple, but actually has a lot of weight behind it. What do we notice, and what have we learned not to notice? For my creation care activity, I turned my air conditioner up a couple notches. Now, in Southern California in August, that is a commitment because it has been hot lately. But what surprised me most was how quickly I became aware of my own comfort. I started thinking about how easy it is to care about creation and principle while barely noticing how much energy and other resources I use daily. Turning up the AC is obviously not going to solve an environmental crisis. What it did was make me pay attention. And I'm starting to think that paying attention is an important part of living missiologically. That really connects for me with people with disabilities and more broadly, people who have been systemically minoritized. Sometimes the church can become so focused on what it can do for people that it forgets to ask what God might be doing through them. That's a very different posture. Wrong men asks us to examine who has the power to define roles and whose perspective shapes those definitions. For me, living missiologically has to include questioning those assumptions. For a person does not need to fit our ideas of independence, productivity, leadership, or ability in order to participate meaningfully in God's mission. The part of Ross's readings that probably stays with me the most is her description of missiology as something that has to remain humble enough to listen and learn from other contexts and perspectives. And maybe that is what ties this entire week together for me. Creation care asks me to notice how I live. Women's perspective asks whose work has gone unnoticed. And the perspective from the disability perspective, it causes us to ask whose gifts and whose agency we fail to recognize. So my question for the group this week is how much of what we call mission has been defined by the people who historically had enough power and visibility to define it? And if we really listen to people who have been systemically minoritized, how might they challenge or even expand what we believe living missiologically looks like? Bye.